Now, a three-judge bench will today deliver a ruling on whether to suspend the ongoing Huduma number registration exercise. The judges who will deliver the ruling include Justices Weldon Korir, Mumbi Ngugi and Pauline Nyamoya. Our reporter Shadrach Miti is our man on this beat this morning. He joins us live for an update. Miti, this comes just a day before the government fully rolls out the exercise. What does this ruling today mean?
Well, Michelle, the ruling that we are expecting to take place in the next few minutes, should the schedule as earlier communicated from the courts, is that, number one, it may interfere with the entire process that the government has been putting in place, which, according to the information, the exercise, should it be rolled out now fully, it will be going on for the next 45 days. That is to say, like 1.5 months to come. But now, we are expecting, and this is a highly anticipated discussion, even as we wait to see the outcome of the ruling. Remember, the people behind this case, which is the Kenya National Human Rights Commission and the Kenya Human Rights Commission and the Nubian Rights Forum, they went to court separately, but now their cases were folded together to become one, and after they were consolidated. And for them, they raised several pertinent issues. One of them was this entire process in itself, they claim will infringe on the rights of individuals, especially when it comes to privacy and the right to keep your own information that you do not want to divulge. But one of the key issues, Michelle, on this entire process is that when you are registering for Huduma number, there are a few questions that one is asked that have never been there before. Like, for instance, when you go to register for a Huduma number, you are required, for instance, to say the entire parentage of a particular individual, that even if you do not, if for instance you are raised up by a single father or a single mother and you fail to divulge information about either of your parent, then it may be so difficult for you to go through this process, because it's an elaborate process that for those that are going to court, think it is a wider scale and a wider scheme that the government intends to use to infringe on the people's rights, even as it seeks to get information through coercion, because they say right on this entire process that if you do not have a Huduma number, then you will not get any of the government services. And so it is a matter that is raising a lot of issues. And another thing is that there are other people who are still waiting in the wings because they argue that not so much information has been given to the public to understand exactly what this process is. There are people who say more civic education has to be carried out to ensure that the public is well informed, that even as it goes through this entire information, it acts from an informed position. But as we speak, there are those who argue that so much ignorance is still outside there, and that the members of the public may be coerced to give information that otherwise would now stop any individual living their own private life. So it is an issue that we really don't know how it will go, because on one hand, the government says it has pumped so much money into this, but now on the other side, now the courts have every obligation to ensure that individuals' rights are really adhered to, and so it will be a matter of looking at what the government intends to do and what the courts will be looking insofar as the application to safeguard people's rights in terms of privacy and other information that they seek to keep safe, even as the process is expected to be rolled over starting tomorrow. Michelle.
But Bimiti, even as this continues, remember several counties rather have been part of the pilot program of this Huduma number exercise. Do we have an update on what became of that pilot program?
The only information we have insofar as the pilot exercise, which was launched in 15 counties across the country, is that it was launched, and the only information we had was specifically on the days the exercise was launched. But thereafter, and in the intervening period of time, we have never had an update over the same. The government has not really come out to tell us exactly what happened, because it was expected that the outcome of the 15 15 counties where the exercise was launched on a pilot basis would inform now the next phase of action, which now is the rolling out of the exercise in the entire country, which according to the information from the government, the exercise has to run for the next 45 days. But now, unfortunately, we have not been given any feedback regarding the pilot process that was launched like a month ago. And so we are still in the dark, because whereas we may have gone around to see how the exercise was taking place, but now the government had every obligation to tell us if there were any hiccups, if there were any bottlenecks in regards to the process, to see how now the members of public can prepare themselves, even as now we set out to get into this exercise that is highly likely going to take place unless maybe the courts decide otherwise. And so it is something that we know very well. The pilot phase was launched, but now the outcome of that pilot has not really been communicated to us or to the members of the public to see whether it was a success, and if the questions that were raised regarding to issues safety, the storage of individuals' information, a right to privacy, and the element of maybe people being taken through other exercise that may now, like people are raising fears that this may subject them to other extra charges in terms of taxation and all other those and every other element that comes with that. And so it is a web of confusion from the members of public point of stand. And again, on the other hand, the government says it's an exercise that has to go on. And so all hopes and all eyes will be in the corridors of justice to see whether the voices of these people went to court to appeal against the move will be heard and the ruling made in their favor, or it will be the ruling will be made in favor of the government. Even as now we're counting just a few hours away to see the entire exercise rolled out in the entire country. Michelle.
And Shadrach, finally, I mean, like you mentioned, several groups have gone to court. I understand a section of the Christian fraternity is wondering if this is not that biblical mark of the beast that is mentioned. It is mentioned in the book of Revelation. But aside from these fears, should the exercise be rolled out tomorrow, how much is this going to cost the taxpayer?
Originally, it was calculated, or it was a rough figure was estimated to be around 6 billion shillings, but it was again said that that figure would be revised downwards or upwards depending on what it's entirely needed in this. But regarding the faith and the religious element tied to this, Michelle, it's going to be a huge tussle and battle between the government and strong Christian believers who, according to the biblical revelations and writings in the Bible, this will eventually come to fulfill some of the prophecies that were highlighted and are still there in the Bible. And so I remember when the government was launching the piloting phase of this, I think it was the Principal Secretary for National Treasury, Dr. Kamau Dhuge, who was so quick to point out that this is not in any way related to the 666 number that is highlighted in the Bible. Remember, one of the things that Christians have been taught and have made to understand throughout the biblical teachings is that when the time for the 666 number will come in operation, then one of the key issues will be that you will not be able to get any service unless you have that number. And so when the government comes out and says, unless you have this Huduma number, you will not be able to get any service from any government office from anywhere, then it raises a lot of concerns from Christians' fraternity standpoint. And so it is a matter that we are expecting that although it is only 3 groups that went to court, then we may again see several other groups going to court, some of them being Christian-based in the subsequent days, even as now the exercise seeks to move on. Because one will be wondering, why would the government put so much emphasis on the Huduma number for one to get the services, yet they are getting services from the government is a right that is enshrined in the Constitution. So those are some of the things that the courts will be seeking to address, and even the government itself may be at pains to explain and just to win the confidence of the public, even as now it tries to convince them that there's nothing sinister about the entire process. Michelle.
All right, many thanks, Shadrach Miti. They will be updating us on the ongoings on that ruling this morning, a key ruling there that seeks to